whatever my favorite
Reese's?
is at the moment.
What are Reese's?
Like
Reese's.
peanut butter cup?
Reese's?
Not Reese's.
Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's a different word.
One's a word, one's not.
Potato.
No, again.
Reese's? You really say Reese's?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. All right, hello. Welcome to the Nick's Boots from Start to Finish podcast. I'm your host, Shyler Mao. I'm joined here by Lucas Grassberger, product marketing manager. And of course, our producer, Kelsey Lursbach. Kind of a quick one. We did a long episode that was not really for the podcast. It was for the video for the Contender Championship announcement. And so kind of apologies, I guess, for two kind of short just update podcasts in a row. We generally try to keep that every other week, but that Contender announcement video was fairly involved, and it did have a lot of visual dependence, so we didn't think it was suitable for launching just on the podcast. Lucas, how are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's been a busy week, but a productive one.
Okay.
How's your week been going? I mean, you just got back.
It's long. We've been on the road for a long time, so I'm a little tired, but it's good. No, I mean, we had a really good meeting, really good talks with Wickett and Craig. I was out visiting them, and then with Seidel, and then kind of visited some machine manufacturers and that sort of thing, just looking at ways to, get a little more efficient in Wisconsin. So that was kind of cool to get that demonstration. I'm not sure if we're going to do it, but it's good to kind of keep tabs and see what's out there. Right. But yeah, no, it's good. I got, fortunately, my only delay yesterday was coming on the leg from Seattle that came into Spokane. So it didn't cause me to miss any connections, but it got me in pretty freaking late last night.
Like what time did you get in?
11:30.
Okay. Yeah.
And then, you got to Uber and all that stuff. Yeah. Anyway, so that went well. Some of the things we talked about. So we'll have some new double stuff samples coming. I think I've talked about it a little bit, but I have a really dark olive and a really dark navy that are being made into sample boots. Do you know where those are at?
They're moving through.
Okay.
Yeah, I think
they're through lasting.
Yeah.
Oh, they are?
They're around lasting right now.
Okay.
So we're taking
exciting.
photos of them as they go.
Awesome.
I mean, you and I looked at those leathers.
What'd you think? Any thoughts?
I'm really excited for the navy.
Okay.
I think the navy will be really cool. It's that nice dark color.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that'll be a really appealing one.
What do you think about the green?
I couldn't see it back there.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't able to track it down. But initially, I mean, I think for people who like olive, it'll be a nice option.
Yeah. So we, if you look at think of the cobalt, this will be like a darker version, which I think is cool. I mean, it makes navy waxed flesh look very vibrantly blue. It's that subtle. So I think that'll be cool. I think you really have to kind of see it in a certain light, sort of like our burgundy, depending on the batch. Mm-hmm. Yeah, but it was great talking to them. We talked about some ways we can kind of get more efficient with certain types of leathers, kind of some boring stuff, just like operationally and order cadence and that sort of thing. But from a product standpoint, it was pretty productive. I think you'll see that. And then, they've got some new colors that kind of start out very... I mean, they're vibrant, right? They'll be like an orange or a yellow or something like that, but they just change so much when they go in through the double stuff process that it'll be interesting to see how those kind of play out. And one other thing, so what do you think of like a super dark brown? Like a really dark brown?
For like double stuff?
Mm-hmm.
I think it could be interesting. I think double stuff is such a unique leather. It really depends on, is it just going to be just a flat, dark brown, or is it going to have some pull up to it?
It'll have pull up for sure.
I think it could be interesting.
Yeah. So, we've got buck brown, so this would be starting out even darker. We'll see. Maybe it's so dark that you can't even see it, but we'll see. We'll kind of see what happens to it. They've got some new browns. Really the main hole, I think, now that we've got sort of the greens, reds, and blues covered is really a lighter brown, which is kind of covered by natural, but something intermediate between buck brown and natural. But it's just really hard to get that darkness with the double stuff process because it tends to overshoot that. It's just difficult to kind of find the right starting point. So we've been trying to think through that. I don't think any solution is imminent. So it kind of as a as a kind of a why not, we're going to try it with the darker ones and see there.
Yeah, I was reading through your email update that you sent to all of us with the visit. You mentioned a lime green possibly too.
Yeah, so we'll be sampling a lime green. It's like a medium green, if that makes sense.
Okay.
You know, where the olive is super dark.
Yeah.
This is definitely more green, or lighter, but darker than their like typical harness and that sort of thing.
Okay.
It's definitely for somebody who's like, I want green boots.
Yeah.
But it's not as loud as like zucchini, for example, if you're familiar with with that one. It's a little more subtle than that. But I don't know. They had some really cool samples. It was just like they were all fairly close to where we already are. And that's kind of the challenge. Again, like I mentioned, it's like when you stuff all this stuff so much and you take things to the extreme, they all tend to kind of end up
pretty close to each other.
Relatively close to each other for whatever color palette you're starting with. So
I thought the idea of weatherproof leathers was pretty interesting too.
Yeah. So that's a good point. So we will be experimenting with some. They're not waterproof in the way that maybe like our weatherproof brown or weatherproof coyote or weatherproof black are, which are tested like with the Mazer test, like 10,000 bends and make sure it's still, not letting water through. These are essentially heavily waxed by hand to have significantly more water resistance than their standard formulation. But it's not like got a silicone impregnation or anything like that. But it's essentially, we would call it like a very water resistant veg tan. Which is kind of unique.
Yeah.
I think what our plan is to launch, I don't know about probably a new boot that takes advantage of some of the weatherproof heritage leathers that you saw that comment in there as well. So what I'd like to see is a kind of different, probably with our existing components, but a different configuration of a boot that's really designed to offer a nice heritage look, but have the functionality of that weatherproofing. And so we would leverage those leathers from Horween that are capable of that, as well as these Wicked and Craig's is, I think, kind of a more expensive veg tan option. So I think that's exciting. I think a lot of cool things came out of that. Yeah, thanks for that reminder.
Cool. Yeah, I think that'll be really interesting. Most veg tan, I feel like, is very not water resistant. Like it soaks up everything. And so putting that with like a 365 typically doesn't make a lot of sense. But this could be a cool way to do that.
Yep. So that was exciting, and thanks to Wicked for kind of bringing that to our attention. But yeah, we're trying some weird stuff. Like I'm gonna try dipping a yellow. I'm gonna see where that ends up. That'll be weird. But it's almost I don't know. What if it comes out like a distressed cognac or something like that?
Yeah,
I think
that could be cool.
And then something bigger came out of that I think is exciting. But we need to test out how those work and kind of how we're gonna bring those to market. But I'm very excited about that. Oh, and then they're actually, we'll hold off on that. So yeah, that was an exciting visit. We've got the Contender Championship going in full swing right now. As I mentioned, we did do that announcement video. That's been going really well. It seems like the response is really positive. I don't know. What have you seen?
It's been awesome. Yeah, a lot of the community, a lot of people in it posting more updates of their boots. I was just telling Kelsey, we posted on Instagram all of them. And like, hey, make your predictions. And one comment in there was seed number 1 for me, but I might be biased because I am Carl, the wife who took the photos, which I thought was pretty funny.
Yeah. Carl was a team player right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Tate jumped in and said, thanks, Carl. I think you deserve a split of the winnings if he gets first place.
Well, I think legally she's entitled to it, at least in this state. I don't know where they live, but yeah, no, that's been cool to see. I think we definitely saw some people post their current stage of aging for the boots that were put in there, which was really kind of nice. Yeah. So on the championship, Lucas, who do you think is going to win?
I've been watching the votes as they're coming in. There's some that are very close. Like there's one in particular right now. It's like a 2-vote difference.
Yeah. So I mean, guys, if you haven't voted yet, like your vote literally could decide.
Yeah. Yep. And then if you like that boot, it goes on sale the next day.
Yep.
So there's a benefit to you as well if you want to get those boots.
Yep. Some of these are real close, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Some that have been surprising. I don't want to say anything because I want it to be a surprise for everybody. But there are some who are like, this one's definitely going to win this round, and it's going the other way.
Yep. Yeah. There are a couple upsets.
Yeah.
That surprised me. So yeah, it's been kind of cool to see that.
Yeah.
kind of like a real thing. So
Mm-hmm.
we will be launching. When does the heat strap stuffle come out?
The plan is next week. And
So what date is that?
What's next Friday?
So the 23rd.
That's the plan. Yeah. We were gonna actually start.
Hard to nail these guys down, I will say.
Well, we were gonna start teasing it out early next week, showing people getting a sign up for early access, like we typically do with these guys.
So when were you going to do that? Friday?
I believe
This week?
I think that starts on Friday.
Friday.
Either
Okay.
Friday or
16th.
Sunday.
Yep.
Okay, the 16th or the 18th.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that'll be great. It's a beautiful bag. It's made
Yeah.
with our
64
brown garment leather. It's pretty heavy duty, but not crazy. Lots of pockets, lots of
yeah.
storage. It's got the nice benefit of a boot bag inside. So, if you do have some dirty boots, you can kind of put them in the bag without getting everything else messed up. Yeah, Heat Straps did a really nice job on that.
And they made it to be specifically the size of a carry-on bag.
Yep.
So you can take it with you. They were saying it's actually lighter weight than their canvas bag that they're doing right now. So I think it folds up really nicely. I was messing around with it. So if it is your carry-on, you could, after you unpack, you can fold it up and tuck it away until next time you're traveling.
Where does it fit on an airplane?
Yeah. So they made sure the dimensions fit for your carry-on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I might have to get one myself. And of course, that's done here in the U.S. So paying fair wages and supporting local communities. So hopefully that appeals to you. And I think you'll really like the bag. It's a great bag. Another project that we're working on is reorganizing the site. So I won't get into like everything about it, but essentially the thought process behind it is like does the site designed well for people who are very experienced with Knicks boots? Is the site designed to appeal to people who are encountering this for the first time? I think we've had various approaches throughout the years that we've emphasized. And I think kind of right now we've settled on sort of an unhappy medium where it's not great at either purpose. And so we're going to take a different tack on that. And we're essentially going to have very explicit ways to shop within the top level navigation, which of course trickle down into the sorting and filtration capabilities. But really the desire is to have it be clear to somebody who is brand new to the brand. Do I shop by like function? Do I shop by model? Do I shop by last, et cetera? We'll try and make all of those things clear, but also have it be appealing to the experienced Knicks boots buyer. We have a lot of return buyers. That's a very obviously important part of our business. And, we need to keep those guys and gals, satisfied. So it will have that level of customization that somebody who has spent a ton of time on the site would expect and be accustomed to and want to have that flexibility. Kind of like a design your boot capability. Unfortunately, not with a visualizer, but at least with the options to kind of get that in there.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think with that, I'm going through and I'm looking just, not just on top level categories, but looking at our products on the website and figuring out like what are we missing, what options, like you can get it over here kind of and kind of over here, but there's something in between missing, and making sure we cover all those bases for the build your boot, customizable options, things like that.
Yep. So that'll be exciting. And it's kind of mundane and a lot of work, but I think it'll have a really big impact on how we do. So like tied to that is on a more exciting note, that's when like the new soles will be kind of fully merchandised. Then those new soles let us address some of the length and width issues that we have with our bigger sizes. That's why you can't get a wedge, for example, or on everything that you probably should be able to, with things that are above like a 12F or double F or whatever. So that is going to get implemented at that time. In addition, the thermolasts will be populated more thoroughly and sensically, where they are available to be made. Some of those things are kind of dependent on each other, right? Like the Thermin is a wider toe box, so it kind of depends on the availability of having wider soles available for certain configurations. And then similarly, the Delta Arch, right? So we want to make that an option for people to buy in their boots and have it, if they prefer to have that built into the product, they can do that, excluding the 360s. 360s will have those as inserts, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Okay. And that's just kind of a side effect of our construction and how that goes. Yep.
And we're also working on prototyping so that we can get it to work with the Delta Arch too, because the shape of the last is a little bit different. So currently it's not available, but we're hoping we've got something going through right now to just dial that in. So you'll be able to get all these options combined together where you can't currently.
Cool. All right, so that's really all I have. Lucas, you have anything you want to add?
No, I mean, we pretty much covered it. On top of the new soles, I mean, we're looking at everything you just talked about. We're looking at some other additions that'll solve some other headaches when it comes to sizing constraints.
Oh, did we talk about the tour boot?
No, we didn't actually. Yeah, so that's going through like a Wellington style work boot, 10-inch top, wedge sole. So we've got one going through right now. We're going to test out, see how it fits, feels.
Would you offer that with different soles?
Yeah. I think the base model would be your classic like white wedge sole, but then we can have options for like a block heel, things like that. Yeah, cool.
Yeah, I just got a question about lowered Station Master. I was like, no, sort of, but this will be close.
Yeah.
All right, Kelsey, what else did you want to add? Any cool questions about modes of transportation or going to different planets, epitomizing different types of vegetables and your personal qualities? I don't know. I'm just recounting some of the old, prompts to kind of get the juices flowing. I love that. That's my favorite part of the show, actually.
We should do a whole podcast episode that is just Kelsey questions.
Sound check questions.
Yeah.
That's not a bad idea.
Go-to road trip snack.
Ooh,
Yeah, that's a great question.
that is a really good question.
It tells me a lot.
You're
about
good
a
at
person.
this.
Savory or sweet?
What's
Or
your
both.
Go-to? Is your go-to to get one or the other? Or is your go-to to get one of each?
My
What's the
number
drink?
one travel, I had like 3 of them over this past week, are mint Mentos.
Mint Mentos.
That's not something I've ever heard before.
I love Mentos in general, but I always get mint Mentos. And then I also really like the new, I used to always get Funyuns,
Oh, okay.
but now I like Flamin' Hot Funyuns.
Oh, I've never tried the Flamin' Hot Funyuns.
They're pretty good. Kelsey, how about you?
Where'd she go? Oh.
I gotta have a savory and a sweet. My sweet is almost always some form of like Reese's, whatever my favorite
Reese's?
is at the moment.
What are Reese's?
Like
Reese's.
peanut butter
Reese's.
Reese's?
Reese's. Not Reese's.
cup? Whatever.
Well, I mean, it's a different word.
One's a word, one's
Potato,
not.
potato.
No, again.
Reese's? You really say Reese's?
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then savory is lately I've been liking the pretzel cheese-filled combos.
Wow.
Mhm.
That was a
Yeah.
blast from the past.
Yeah.
That's a very 90s,
combos,
90s
yeah.
snack.
It is, but they're not good, but they are in like that weird way, you know?
I don't know. That's interesting. Oh, I'm tapping. Oh no. That is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's fine.
What's your favorite beer? And is it Busch Light?
Blue Moon.
Blue Moon. Okay.
Blue Moon.
Just kidding. All right.
Sweet is also Reese's. Reese's, not Reese's.
Reese's?
Reese's.
Reese's?
Reese's.
Okay.
Specifically, Reese's Pieces.
Oh yeah.
Those are the
100%.
worst ones.
I love those.
Whoa.
I love those for theaters. Like when
Yeah.
I was a kid. I haven't really seen them that much. I don't get them. I don't really go to movies anymore.
But Reese's Pieces, and then like some sort of Chex Mix, or I can't remember what they're called, but they're like a pretzel, but it's got like mustard.
Snyder's?
Is it the?
Dots?
Dottie's.
I don't remember. When I see the bag, I know it's like it's almost like crushed.
Is it Snyder's of Hanover?
It might be, but it's like it's got this like spice on it, like mustard spice thing. I don't know, but typically some sort of Chex Mix, classic.
Well, that's a great question, Kelsey. We learned a lot about one another.
Reese's.
I would like it known. It is Dots. I don't know if they rebranded, but currently it's DOTS.
What is Dots? I don't even know what Dots are.
Dots pretzels.
Oh, is it?
It is
thought it was
also known
Dottie's.
as Dotties. I think that might have been their original
So we're
name.
both right.
We're both right.
Okay.
I just need it known.
Okay. Would you call it Dutes, maybe? Similar to how you say Reese's?
No, not this one.
No?
No.
Okay.
Good question, though.
All right. You know?
Do you call it Reese's Pieces?
Reese's Pieces.
Yeah. Exactly.
Do you call them Reese's Peanut Beater Keeps?
I might
No?
now.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, anyways, guys, hopefully this all gets edited out. And thank you for listening. And we'll talk to you next week. Have a great weekend. Bye. We should have a table slap episode.
Where it's just back to back.
Just lots of slaps, lots of breathing.
Lots of mouth
Of,
noises.
maybe I'll be eating. Lucas will be eating and
Yeah.
smacking his lips like with your cobbler.
Yeah, we'll have
Yeah.
cobbler and
Cobbler
nothing to
smacking.
wash it down.
Cobbler smacking.
Yeah. It'll be an ASMR episode.
No, I don't like that.
And you'll have to edit it.